Yes.
That's nice.
Here we are. 2 Geminis, 2 questions. We're on episode 20. For those of you who haven't seen this before, it's Hallie and Quinn, and we're both on our own personal self-love journeys, and we have partnered up in supporting you on this journey. So if you're interested, go to selfloveexodus.com to see what we offer to support you. And on this live show, we come up with a question to ask each other, and we surprise each other with that question. And we just love doing this. We love talking about the journey. We love talking about anything in life. And this is our way of being transparent, authentic, raw, and real. So yeah, this is episode 20. So here we go. All right.
My slippers on me.
Okay, she's gonna put on some slippers.
Okay, you ready for your question?
I am.
So yours is a 2-part question.
Okay.
And it's you know how in our workshops we do those like fill in the sentence. So it's a sentence starter, and you get to finish the sentence.
Okay.
There's 2 of them.
Okay.
First sentence. The purpose of my life is.
Purpose of my life. I mean, what's coming up is like to live a life of peace. Live a life of peace with myself, with my family, and support others in doing so. Yeah, I've always said my purpose here is to experience what the self-love life is. And in doing so, I help people. I support people on their self-love journey. What's coming up through right now is like peace. I mean, it leads you to peace.
Yeah.
It ultimately leads you to peace.
Can you talk about the relationship between self-love and peace?
Mm-hmm. So on our meditating conversation session today, we were just talking about like what self-love looks like, and when we showed up to meditation, it was all about like being present with yourself, right? I'll just talk about personally for me, like getting on this self-love journey and how it's created peace in my life. To be with self means to be with yourself emotionally, with your thoughts mentally, being with yourself and exploring who the F you are, like what values you have, what promises you have to yourself. It means to be with yourself physically, and what it means for you to be with yourself even financially, like navigating this life on this planet. And so for me, when I continuously showed up myself in those areas, especially emotionally, that was really hard. I needed to face the emotions that I was afraid of. And so when I learned how to actually release them in healthy ways, what it means to create space in order to process these emotions and understand them and literally being my own best friend, I started to be more okay with myself, with my past, my regrets, the shit that I did a mistake on, even the past self, like continuously, I started to be, again, more okay with myself, more okay with my life, and then more okay with how I am with others, right? This is a lifelong journey. So ultimately, when you are feeling more and more okay with your pains, this is when peace is produced. When you think of the idea of peace, this is what my idea, that anything can happen to me, anything can happen to those around me, and I'll be okay. That's my idea of peace. Like you have been so mindful of the way that you're living that you're so okay with yourself. You're so okay with yourself, with other people, and you're so okay with how you chose to live. Ultimately, experiencing more and more peace. So yeah, that's what I've been experiencing since being on the self-love journey. And I love what we had someone showing up to our meditating conversation session this morning, and they said that they, to really connect with self and be with self, like this is something that we're afraid of. We're afraid to face ourselves. We're afraid of not knowing what to do when we face all those things that we don't like about ourselves. Mm-hmm. So self-love is the practice of utilizing these tools, utilizing these practices so that you're able to actually face them, express them, reflect on them, process them, understand, love on it. So you see, like, oh, all of that is available to you through the self-love practices. And you can imagine it's like clearing, you're continuously clearing with yourself. So you can imagine and get the idea of how it does create peace.
So good.
And in relations to other people too. Hello, that's a big one too.
Yeah, because it's like peace within yourself creates peace within your relationships.
Totally.
Discord within yourself creates discord within your relationships. So amazing. So clearly articulated.
Mm-hmm.
The next one you already answered through your expression, but I'll just give it to you and then you can like say it in a clear little way.
Okay.
The purpose of self-love is
to heal. Let's keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to heal and ultimately experience peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotta heal the shit. Gotta heal the stuff. And I was, during my experience with my brother being in the hospital, right? Like, I'm just like, okay, Quinn, you've been like fucking jogging every day, minus like 2 days, the day of that it happened, and also like this other Sunday, and it's like self-love is not just some. You do experience magical things with it, but it's not some foofy like, oh, love yourself, like when I talk to people, sometimes they don't realize how deep it actually is.
Yeah. And I think, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, in your example of jogging every day, since you've been like living through a traumatic experience, is another thing. Like self-love isn't just something you do when it's convenient, right? Like self-love is something that you commit to doing every day of your life, no matter what's going on in your life.
Thank you for highlighting that. I had someone with a health scare reach out to me and wanted some insight on how I navigated through my health scare with my precancerous cells and ultimately getting the hysterectomy because it got really bad. I said, it's the work that I did before. Mm-hmm. There is no way I would have been able to like have this perspective of how it was a gift and it was a blessing. And it helped me be even more grateful. And my gratitude and my compassion just dropped even deeper, and seeing how it's all for me and that I'm free. And there's no way, if I was not committed to showing it to myself with practices, healing my shit, creating so much space where it like allows me to have a bigger perspective, Yeah, there's just no way. So it's the work before. It's the work before. And sometimes it takes something tragic to spark that lifestyle for us. So please don't do it just when it's convenient. Actually, it's harder to do it when it's just, it's harder to show up to it if it hasn't been already a practice that's ingrained in your life. It's not something that's already like a promise to yourself for every day, Yeah.
I have another question.
Thank you for highlighting that. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as you're talking about peace, right, and how like everyone has had like moments of peace where you get to experience that, and just it's the best, right? But would you also say that humans have an addiction to drama? And like before you recognize that you have that addiction, it's like getting to peace isn't even an option. Like you have to first like understand like I on some level am like creating drama in my life because it makes me feel alive. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So I guess my question is like, what does overcoming an addiction to drama entail?
Whoa, love this. Well, when you say addiction, my addiction is like, attention from other people and, codependency. I was addicted to feeling love from other people, the attention and love from other people.
And didn't that create like a roller coaster?
Oh, yeah.
Drama?
It is not. And that's something I want to emphasize too. The more that you practice self-love, the more moments that you will have of peace, right? And it's all depending on how much you do it. And there's going to be moments where you don't feel at peace. So it's not like something you hit a level and you're like, okay, I'm like at peace with my life now. some moments that you can feel into that. And of course, like there's a way to for sure feel that more often, more often, more often, depending on the decisions that you make every single day that builds up and creates this space and all of that. So, I mean, my addiction, I mean, it's such a human experience to have your downfalls, to have your setbacks with this, because it took me. I was talking about my last relationship. Like it took me, even though we broke up in like 2014, I didn't cut ties with this person until 2017. 2017, 2018. No, 2018, I want to say. Okay, that's 4 years. So, how would I say it? I'm thinking about the environment and then also yourself, right? It's like, yes, I had that self-promise of being my own best friend. And also, though, like, it's still a battle every single day because you're going to have things that will trigger you and it's going to want you to revert back, which did happen. I reverted back to my ex so many times. And so, what was the question? It was like, how do you overcome like this addiction? The addiction. One, yeah, like start having a daily self-love practice, and two, be around safe people only. Making sure the people that you're around are mirroring back to you self-love. Because if not, they're most likely people who may take a little bit more space than you, you know? And especially if you're in a very fragile state where you're like just starting the journey, oh my God. You need, even if it might be one person, find one person that's actually about that life and like know that you need to stay connected with them. Whether it's a community, a person, a book, your room. Like, I remember making my room the biggest, loudest reminder for being on this path because I knew it was going to be hard. It's so hard. I mean, facing myself when I always had somebody to lean on, even though it was unhealthy, like, that drug wants you to come back to it every day. Okay?
Yes.
Especially in the beginning. Especially when you're not feeling good, it's even louder. It's like, hey, text me, text this person, grab this, grab that. And this speaks on all addiction. So how I working that, I stayed around safe people only, positive environments only, as much as I could, and then arriving to my self-love as much as possible. And oh yeah, I had setbacks. Oof. I had triggers that drove me to be very codependent again, and then losing my self-love. But then recognizing that, because now you have awareness now, and then it's like, okay, let's recommit again, right? I had to recommit so many times. And then finally I was like, all right. You know, actually my partner today was kind of like putting the deal breaker on me, like, hey, if you don't see what's going on here with this other person, like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Like, I mean, I am, but we can't do this thing that we have anymore. No more. Because it's like, right? And so it's so important to be around people who mirror back to you self-respect, self-worth, self-love, because you get to see it exists. Like, oh, that's what it looks like. Okay, no, you're right. Oh my God, what am I doing? Like, wake up, wake up. Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my God, crucial. I don't care if it's one person. You don't need like fucking 10 people in your life. You just need at least some sort of an example. The example. Yeah. That's how you're gonna make it.
So good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much for that too, because you know people are like, but then my friend and so much history. You can love people and have boundaries. You can love people from afar. If you talk to anyone who's taking this path, they will share insight with you how they were able to navigate through it, because that's the other thing, right? And then we have to recognize our own codependency to that too. It's like, yeah. So it's like, would you rather lose yourself or would you rather lose other people? I mean, you've already experienced what it feels like losing yourself, neglecting yourself, abandoning yourself. So, see, you need someone to be able to talk back and forth like this to you, because the past self is just gonna continuously come in and wanting to like enable your past behavior. Yeah, you need someone. Yeah, or an audio or something, and like literally anything. Or us. Yeah, our community. Join us. Yeah, hello. Thank you for your question.
Really good.
Yes. Man. I know that's just such a thing that's coming up for me right now, just everything that's going on. Boundary is a boundary, and you can love people and have boundaries. Like I have boundaries with everybody, even my partner, even with friends in general. Like just like at least a guideline for yourself, so you can keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
If you don't like the word boundary, guidelines.
And if
hard guidelines.
If the people that you're creating boundaries with aren't respecting your boundaries, they might not be about you actually, really. You know, in terms of the way of like really loving you and what you need and who you are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of people are takers, unfortunately, you know, but they don't realize it. And I feel like sometimes when we wake up or get this awareness, we realize, you know, and it's enlightening. Growth requires pain as well, you know, it's not going to be easy. You have the awareness and now it's the action. And then it's like, the pain of letting people go or like distancing yourself. It's all going to be a part of it too. You know? Yeah. Pain is a part of growth. Alrighty. Your question is inspired from this morning. So I would like for you to think about a moment in your life that you were like rock bottom. Really bottom. Think about how you were feeling, the state that you were in, the situation that occurred. And okay, so there's that, right? There's that. And now I want you to think about yourself today, aka your higher self. And you had the opportunity to meet this Hallie that was like bottom. Like, because you are today, and you are the higher self of this Hallie. So, like, yeah, what would you say to her? Yes.
It's really sweet.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because even like, it's like I get glimpses into that emotionality of my rock bottom self all the time. Like yesterday when I had this splitting headache and was like in bed all day and like couldn't really do anything. And I was like watching my mind like I was just like watching my mind suffer because I was in physical pain.
Yes.
And there were things that I wanted to do that I couldn't do, and I just had to do nothing. So that like so when you're kind of in a state of suffering and you're alone, you know? It just like reminds you of every rock bottom that you've ever had. You know, it's just like a shorter version of it.
Yes.
You know? So I guess the rock bottom is like a more accumulated, you know, it's like day in and day out and day in and day out. You're just like in that deep suffering. So I guess what the practice, you know, because this is one of my practices, especially lately, I've been really into the watching your thoughts practice. Really into the like observer perspective practice. So I was in my suffering and then watching myself in my suffering. I was like thinking about all the things that I want to do once I'm not suffering anymore, and I was watching myself do all of that.
That's a great seat to be in.
Yeah.
Or it's a helpful seat to be in.
Yes.
To be the observer of yourself. That is,
I was having a bad headache and I was watching the headache. You know, I was just like watching it all. And that's what I would tell myself. Because the earlier version of me didn't have that separation. It was just a full identification with the suffering, you know? And through just like all of my spiritual teachers that I follow and the various spiritual practices that I've had to re-listen to over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like literally every day I will like listen to some type of spiritual conversation. Because I need the constant reminders.
Yes.
And this is just like a fundamental, like being able to observe. And it's like, the more that I do that, the more I can like disassociate from all of the identities and all of the self stuff of like who I think I am and who I think I need to be and what I think I need to prove and like what do I think I need in life in order to be valuable, like all of that self stuff that actually like traps us.
Totally.
You know, the prison of the self.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I would tell my younger self, like, or my rock bottom self, just to watch it, observe it, and you are not that. You will never be your thoughts. You will never be your possessions. You will never be, like, even your roles. Like, even, like, I'm a healing artist. No, I'm really not. Like, I play that role. It's fun, you know? But it's not who I am, you know? And so, yeah, just, like, really, I've been just, like, breaking down the self a lot.
Nice.
And it feels really good.
Wow. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is like talking to your younger or like rock bottom selves that you've experienced throughout the years. Like, let's observe, and knowing that we are not our thoughts, and we are not. What was it? What did you say? Our possessions. We're not our possessions. We're not our roles. So I'm hearing it's like you're inviting your past self to like step into this observer and feel like, what is it that you feel that she needed to feel in those moments with that process? Like, you need to get out of this victim.
Yeah, like it's like the prison,
suffering,
right?
The prison.
So it's freedom. That's what she needs to feel. She needs to feel that she is, like, even though the stories are running, even though all of the limiting beliefs are up, especially as it relates to, like, brokenheartedness, which has been like such my rock bottom themes in my life. Just like I've been brokenhearted, that's when I just like suffer the most. Like, and all of the stories that get produced in that state about like not being chosen and not being lovable and not being worthy, and like what do I need to do to be a better version of myself so that so and so will love me.
They'll come back.
They'll
love
me
more.
And all of the stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's just such a trap. It's such a mental trap.
Totally.
And what's cool about it is that as soon as you are in that observer perspective, it's like, okay, I'm having this thought, right? I'm having a thought that like, oh my gosh, I'm so unlovable. Oh man, I'm so like atrocious. Like no one will ever love me. So I'm having that thought, and then I like realize that I can like have awareness of that thought. Suddenly that thought just like doesn't need to continue. It's like the thought can drop.
Wow.
Because it's like, oh, I'm just like literally making up my thoughts are just telling me something. And I don't have to believe them. I don't have to continue thinking them. Like I can let them go. I don't have anything to solve. I have nothing to fix. I have nothing to rehearse. I have nothing to become. You know, like I already fucking am everything. I already am everything.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm already everything. So it's like there's a shift that happens when you like, let's be an observer. Let's just watch what's happening here.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So yeah, just freeing myself from myself.
Oh my God, freeing yourself from yourself.
That is the practice. The self is the only enemy that we have. That's a big breakthrough that I've been having lately as I've been doing this work. I'm like, oh, I am my only enemy, literally. That's it. There's nothing out here that can get me, you know?
And that's freeing.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, okay, let's just focus on this enemy that I have with myself, and let's I just see your enemy self and your self just kind of like making amends.
Yes.
Because I know sometimes our talk might be like, fuck you, fuck my enemy self. But then like the enemy self is a part, I don't know, it's a part of you. So yes. When you can find a way to make a friend with
because
your
if you're
self,
saying fuck you to your enemy self, you're still in story.
Yeah, there's anger there. There's still, right? You're like, how's that sound like? Fuck you.
Yeah.
To the part of yourself.
Yeah. But mainly, it's just like letting go of having to even be in that enemy consciousness.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm in enemy consciousness right now. Okay, cool. I don't have to be in that. Oh wow, great.
Yes.
Moving on.
Yeah. And I'm feeling a sense of like maybe you can refrain from calling your enemy self. Can we call it something else? It's just your human past self or your right? It's a little
It's like the conditioned self is what it is.
Yes.
It's the conditioned self.
I love that.
Yeah. But it is the enemy. Like I think the thing about it is that once you realize that your own dialogue is the only actual enemy in your life, then you also become the only savior of your life.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. Full on responsibility.
Full on responsibility.
Full on. I love that. Freedom in your share.
You know my keywords, girl.
Freedom, liberation,
and like
surrender, letting go. And I love how you said, "I am everything." You know, like I already am. Like like let's just be, and that's enough. Like let's just be. Like totally self-honoring here, and practicing stepping into the observer, stepping to the observer, stepping to observer. Obviously, there's practice here, because we're just like. We so want to be in this spot and we don't know what to do after that. Which, I mean, that's why we're here. Like, again, when you surround yourself with people who are on the journey, they will mirror back to you all the things that's possible for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely possible for you. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
Good question.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, people.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your year. We're wishing you so much presence with self and to embark on a journey that allows you to experience self-love, to bring about peace. And saying yes more often to environments and people who mirror back to you self-love, and healing, self-respect, all the things, self-worth, all that. Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Next week's New Year's, yeah? Next week's New Year's? Yeah. So the next time we see you will be in 2022. We'll see you then.